Kasim Mileri, Anadolu News Agency.
Hi, Connor. Nice to see you. Does the SDF have any anti-tank weapons currently being delivered to for the Raqqa operation?
Okay, I think you're asking about the SDF and the weapons that have been provided to the Kurdish element for the Raqqa operation. That authority had been approved, and we have already started to provide the weapons and the equipment and the ammunition that we said that we would, and we'll continue to provide those to our Syrian Democratic Forces, both the Syrian Arabs and the Syrian Kurds, for this fight against ISIS in Raqqa. We want to make sure that they are prepared and they have the equipment that they need to be successful against ISIS in Raqqa. We're looking at the types of threats that have emanated or that we've seen in Mosul, and we expect the same type of threats with the vehicle-borne improvised explosive devices and the car bombs that they've shown, and so we're going to make sure that they are successful. Now, as far as what we are giving them, we are being very clear and open and transparent with the equipment that we're providing with our ally Turkey.
We heard that the coalition supports Raqqa operation with HIMARS, Apaches, and M777 howitzers. Are they currently being employed, or will you provide those platforms to the operation in future?
Each one of those capabilities that you just discussed are being used for this operation to defeat ISIS in Raqqa, supporting our Syrian Democratic Forces.
Follow up on the number of the ISIS fighters inside Raqqa. The other day we heard that they are in hundreds, and then now you are saying that there are 2,005. Your approximate estimate is 2,500 fighters inside Raqqa. Are you talking about the core city of Raqqa, or are you including the vicinity of the city as well?
Oh, well, right now we're talking those that are in the Raqqa city center and the environs that are just on the outskirts, the suburbs, if you will. And when I'm saying suburbs, I'm talking about right now the Syrian Democratic Forces have already gotten a foothold into the eastern part of Raqqa city center, and on the west side to the north, they're still about 3 kilometers to the north of Raqqa city. So this is the area that I'm talking about, and we estimate about 2,500 ISIS fighters that are in there right now.
Thank you very much.
Next to Kevin Barron, Defense One.
A couple of things. Back to the drone. I mean, trying to figure out what kind of drone this is. Maybe we could. Do you have any imagery that you're going to release to us, to the public, or any interest in more about what it is? And on Raqqa, could you just talk a little bit more about the next steps to get to the city center, what could be expected, and Turkey's response, cooperation, both with not just the fighting, but the expected civilian/military group that governs it after?
Okay, I got the first question about the imagery, about providing that. I'd have to go back and look into that and find out if it's something we can declassify, and if so, and where I can provide that, I will find that out. That's a due out. And then your second, after you asked about the imagery, it was completely choppy. I didn't get any of that question. I don't know if you need to move somewhere else.
I'll try a little more loudly, but I just wanted a little more clarity on what to expect going forward in Raqqa, getting toward the city center, and then what's the state of cooperation with Turkey, both on the fighting or allowing Kurds to fight, and looking ahead to the post-fight governance to come?
Okay, so on 6 June, that's when they began their offensive operations to defeat ISIS in Raqqa. They have made some steady progress in the first neighborhoods and have successfully been able to take ground from ISIS already in Raqqa. We expect to have the coalition continue to provide our intelligence, our surveillance, our reconnaissance, and our advisors will be with them throughout this engagement and fight. And our air, artillery, and as a question asked earlier, we'd also have helicopters in support of the Syrian Democratic Forces as we move forward. We expect this to be a fight very similar, not quite as built up and as a dense urban terrain and as we've seen in Mosul, but nonetheless, ISIS has had almost 3 years to prepare for this fight, and we expect it to be very difficult, just as we've seen in Mosul. I don't know if that answered your question.
Yeah, for now, that's okay.
He's asking you about Turkey. Did you get that?
Oh, I didn't. No, I did not.
Are you getting any resistance from Turkish, from anything at all with Turkey when it comes to the ground fighting, the coalition job that you want to happen?
Outside of some of the comments that we've seen in open source, no, we have not. The Syrian Democratic Forces are clearly in a position. They have been the force that is most prepared and ready and poised to start this offensive operation. And as they've kicked it off and already begun making some progress, they are the right force. And we'll continue to support them. We will defeat ISIS, and we'll move on to wherever they are next. We do continue to service ISIS targets, continuing in Dar ez-Zor and in Abu Kamal and elsewhere, wherever they present themselves and wherever they have been a threat. And we'll continue to do that as well.